Hello, Nigel Atkinson, formerly of various renowned Cardiff bands such as the legendary Shades and others, and my colleague
Tony Mladenovic, formerly of the legendary Shades at one stage, and another band called Swerve as well.
So guys, we've been sampling various guitars today, well, two in particular, the Rickenbacker and the Fender. Can you explain a bit more about those?
Okay, well, this is a Rickenbacker 325. It's a 1973 Rickenbacker 325, identical really in design and features compared to an original 1958 model. It's a 1958 design. The guitar was played by John Lennon most famously. It's also been used by others such as Creedence Clearwater Revival. This particular one, as I said, it's a 1973 one, so it's vintage in its own right, even though it's a 1950s design. It's got the original vintage toaster pickups on it, which give that that sort of 1960s sound. And really, in terms of its design and its sound, it's mellow, so it's kind of indistinguishable really from an original 1960s or 1950s even Rickenbacker. One of the things that you'll find when you're sampling guitars is that they can be played in a variety of ways, and we'll come on to this with the Strat in a moment. But just picking up the Rickenbacker, you've got 5 different tone controls. You've got a 3-way selector. So basically you can select the bridge pickup, middle pickup, or the neck pickup. You can also alter the volume and tone, play the guitar in different places. If you play it at the neck, you get a more bassy tone. If you play it at the bridge, you get a more trebly tone. And really all we've got at the moment is just a snapshot of one particular sound that you could get off this guitar. That's, I suppose, one of the limitations of sampling guitars, is there's so many different combinations of sound and tone that there's an almost indefinite combination that you could do on this one guitar. And I'll leave Ty to explain further on the Strat, because it's even more complex in terms of what you can get out of it.
Well, I think Nigel's covered a lot there. You know, he's explained everything about the pickups and tone controls. But basically, this is it's made in 1984, purchased in 1988. So it is a vintage guitar now. It's mellowed in playability. The neck is what we call played in. It's smoother. It's a maple fretboard, alder body, so it's solid wood. The tones and the cosmetics have yellowed a little bit attractively over time. But what happened? But guitar was designed in 1956, so it basically hasn't changed. The only thing that is a modification, modern update, is this bridge part, which is a bit more stable than the original one, and the tremolo unit I've taken off just out of personal preference. But again, with vintage instruments, is what tends to happen is the wood alters over time and retains its tone. The tone doesn't change. It sort of reaches a sort of tonality, and it sort of stops at that richness, let's say. And the pickups tend to lose some of the magnetism, so they get a kind of a throatier sound, let's say. That's the vintage character. Now this hasn't quite got that, but it's nevertheless sounds a bit more vintage than a brand new one does, and it will sound more sort of older as it gets older, hopefully. So again, what Nigel was pointing out is you've got the 3 pickups. So you've got the bridge, the neck, the middle, and the bridge. You've got a pickup selector. Uniquely, I think, probably on the Strat, is the pickup selector will pick between the 3 pickups, but it'll also pick between the 2. So the 4th selector part will pick between these 2 pickups, giving it a slight out of phase character, and between these 2 pickups, giving it a slight out of phase character. So you've got 1 master volume control, and you've got 2 tone control pots as well. So again, what Nigel was saying, it's the first time I've done this, and it is interesting, but again, you're getting a tiny fragment of the full tonality of the instrument, and that can be based on just on simple things like the type of strings you've got, they're old strings or new strings, the thickness of the pick that you're using, or whether you're plucking with your fingers, or whether you're playing the note in the middle on the mid pickup, or playing it further up higher here, you'll get a brighter sound, or lower here you'll get a darker sound, and again, it all depends again which pickup you're going to select. If you roll down the tone control a bit, roll down the volume again, the amplifier you're using as well. Whether it's valve, whether it's turn up loud, whether it's digital, what effects units you're using. So that it seems like somebody could spend a whole year just doing this on just this one guitar, let alone others. And also, you know, they've got the character of just the Fender Strat itself is not a single entity. You can have it with a rosewood fingerboard, which will give it a slightly darker tone. The maple fretboard gives it a brighter touch, which is sort of more commonly, say, associated with country music originally. And again, the thickness of the strings as well contributes to the tone. You know, you have
What thickness the strings are
I
using?
think these are 9.5s up to 42.
Right.
So sort of 9s are the sort of standard. Then if you want a thicker tone, you move up a little. But what some guitarists do is they might even play 10s, and then they'll lower the tuning, so sort of an E flat. So you've got more tone. The thicker the strings, you've got more tone. You know, and depends on which way you're hitting the strings, in which manner you're hitting the strings. You know. Plucking them with fingers, Mark Knopfler style, for instance, gives it a totally different character, totally different tonality. So it's a complex issue. Just sampling this one instrument, it seems to me, it's a complex issue because you're just playing, single notes. You've got variations there. Playing chords again, which I think we will get to further on. If you play a simple C chord, you can play it openly, and you've got strings ringing there. You can play it, in this position, or a bar chord, or various inversions, and they've all got their tonal characteristics. Again, what type of pick you're using, how hard you hit it, thickness of strings. So as Nigel was saying, there are multiple variations of sound.
There's so many different variations of sound. I mean, I think the essence of coming up with something that is a good virtual instrument is really picking perhaps the classic sounds of each instrument. So, for example, the Strat, there are certain sounds that you would associate with being a classic sound associated with a Fender Stratocaster. So it makes sense to concentrate on those sounds. Similarly, the Rickenbacker 325, if you play it on the neck pickup, for example, you get a sound that's, I wouldn't say it sounds like a Strat, but it's getting towards that sort of sound. It's a sort of less distinguished Rickenbacker sound, whereas on the bridge pickup you get that jangly, sort of abrasive Rickenbacker sound that they're always associated with. So for the purpose of this exercise, really on the Rickenbacker, we've been concentrating on the bridge pickup to give it the distinctive Rickenbacker sound. On other instruments that we'll be using in due course, I think we'll concentrate on what we would consider to be the classic sound of that particular instrument, because there are so many different combinations that could be drawn on. You could do this as an infinite exercise, basically. So I mean, I think that's basically it. To sum it up, to come up with something meaningful, you have to focus your attention on particular aspects of the instrument, and that's what we've been trying to do today.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.